Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and today we're going to take a look at recent prices on eBay, mainly for two sellers that I like to cover a lot because they have some really nice items. Obviously, AFA/CIB, they listed a bunch of really nice Tri-Logos in very high grade. The prices are pretty eye-popping, and I was wrong on one of them that I'm going to show you here at the end of the video. I also do have Gold Star Tech. They had some more items that sold here recently. A few others, but mainly this is going to be Tri-Logos. So buckle up because the prices, at least this week, were much higher than what I was expecting for most of the items. As always, thank you to my Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/actionfiguregrader is where you can go to sign up to get buy it now alerts, auction alerts, auction ending alerts, and obviously get 24 hours early access to all my videos. All right, so let's start off with Gold Star Tech. They had a 12-back B Luke Farm Boy punched example price sticker graded AFA 80. And this was a beauty, nice crystal clear blister. 80, 85, 80 were the subscores on this one. $2,500 was the final winning bid on that one. I think the price sticker and obviously being punched probably kept the price down just a little bit, but $2,500 is still a very solid number for what is easily an AFA 80. I mean, the figure looks really clean on that one. It looks like it's got something going on the body there, you know, either discoloration or something. And then on the shoulder, on the right shoulder right there, you can see that he's got a little discoloration. So I think, again, you know, 10 years from now, we're going to see more and more Luke Farm Boys, Princess Leia Stormtroopers that start to discolor inside the blister. This one looks like it's got a little bit going on, and it did get the 80 grade for the figure score, which I think is appropriate for what it is. $2,500 on that one. They also had an ungraded 12-back C Darth Vader. This one did have some condition issues at the top of the hang tab there that you can see. Probably at best a 70 grade. It all depends on that crease in the upper right of the hang tab as to whether that's torn versus just creased. At first blush, it looks like it's just creased, but the blister, pretty decent shape. It had a ding as well. So I think this one at max gets a 70, maybe 70 plus, 75, somewhere in there. 406 was the final winning bid, so it feels like the market agreed with me that this is at best a 70 grade. But, you know, again, not everything has to be graded. And if you're on a 12-back run and you're on a budget, this is probably about as budget-friendly as you're going to get for a 12-back Darth Vader that was overall in pretty good shape. No frosting to the figure that I can see there. So maybe something going on the blister. It's hard to see. It could just be reflections. But, you know, again, for what it is, I think $400 is a pretty decent price for a 12-back. They also had this 48-back B. So this is the free Revenge of the Jedi sticker versus printed on the card. And it did have a Toys R Us price sticker for the Star Destroyer Commander, unpunched. And the final winning bid of $228.50 makes me think I'm missing something on this one. Back of the card looks super clean. You know, it did have, you know, something going on by the hang tab up there, a little crease. But to me, I feel like this one probably gets, I think because of the card, it did have a little bit of very soft creases in the upper left and then the crease above the hang tab. I think at best this is probably a 75, but clear blister, unpunched, and, you know, $228.50 seems like a good deal to me. That seems like a really, really good deal. Nice example for a good price. Same seller also had this Luke Farm Boy 31-back B. Not Luke Farm Boy, Luke Skywalker Bestman. And this one was the 31-back B. Clear blister as well. Punched with the big Toys R Us price sticker. So I think those two factors, again, held the price down. A little bit of card wave on the bottom of the card. And this is something that a number of you have brought up that, you know, it would be nice if AFA and CAS and UKG, if they would have a rail on the bottom of the card to help flatten it out and to prevent that card curl like you saw on my Tri-Logo R2-D2 sensor scope miscard. And this is another example of that where, you know, these cards do and can warp inside these cases. And, you know, it's not a big deal, but it's just something that I've noticed on some of my graded examples. Looks like the blister maybe. It's hard to see because there's only 3 photos. But if you look at the very bottom of the stem of the blister, looks like it might have some kind of dent on the very back of the bottom of the blister stem. So, and you can also see some light creases on the left-hand side of the card. So again, probably about a 75. That's about what I'd give it. And for $585, that's a pretty good deal. An AFA 80 is probably going to set you back $800 to $900 pretty easily. So I feel like that one was a pretty appropriate final price. They also had an AFA 75 Plus Biker Scout laser pistol, mint and sealed box. There's the label on that one. Biker Scout laser pistol 75 Plus. Love the box art on this one. Always one of my favorites. It's got some mini rigs on the back of the box as well. So very, very cool item and, pretty decent grade. 75 Plus for $430 was the final winning bid. I've seen some AFA 80s go for over $600. So this price feels, again, about right to me. And then I think this is the last Gold Star Tech item. This was a Tri-Logo Hoth Rebel Commander. Again, it had some condition issues, obviously, with the blister. Had some dings at the top of the blister, and then on the card, it had some faint creases as well. So probably, again, about a 75 grade at best for $147.50. And we documented one that I think CIB listed, it might have been 2 weeks ago now, that was in higher grade that went for a lot more money, like $400 plus. So not a bad price at all for one that's probably at about 75 grade. This seller over in the UK, shout out to Adam T. He alerted me to this as the auction was ending. So I sent this one out to my Patreon supporters. Not sure if any of you ended up getting it or not, but this was a beauty. This was a UKG 85% EV99 on the Tri-Logo. Unpunched, no price sticker, no £1.59 price sticker either. 561 was the final winning bid in pounds, which is $740 US. And again, very good price there. Now we'll be able to compare this one, if I remember, to an AFA. I think it's an AFA 90 that it might be an AFA 85. It's an AFA 85 that CIB has at auction right now. And by the time this video airs, that auction will have ended. But hopefully I can remember that this UKG 85 sold for $740. I expect the AFA 85 to get closer to $1,000. I haven't looked it up to see what it's currently going for right now, but this is a very, very nice example for the money. I feel like that price is very fair for the EV99. One I wouldn't mind grabbing next year in a high grade. And then likewise, here was an ungraded one here in the US that sold for $441.90. $441.90 was the final winning bid on this. The card was really clean. Blister looked pretty good. I didn't see any major issues on it. Looks like it's still clear blister. And here's another angle for the blister there. Very strange blister for the EV99. It's a wider blister, but the one section of it is thinner. So I don't know why they do it this way for the EV99, but that's how that's how it was packed in. You can see there's a good angle there that really shows that kind of portion to the blister that extends out off of the larger portion of the blister. So I don't know why they do it for that one. I'm sure there's some reason for it. There's some backstory as to why this particular figure was packed that way. But very, very cool item. I think this one's got a good chance at an 80 grade. It looks really clean to me. I think that's every bit of an 80 grade. $441.90 on that one, plus $10 shipping. Good deal, I think, for that. Now on to the big boys. All right, so we got some items from CIB. This was not graded, but this is the R2-D2 Takara rocket. It's kind of a missile or rocket firing example, and you can see the little missiles there on the sprue. Kind of reminds me of Transformers from back in the day that came with the missiles that came on the sprue, and then it had a little base also for this very strange R2-D2 from Takara in Japan. So here's the box art, very cool box art with the Japanese writing. Looks like it was held together with staples there. You can see that there. And there's the back of it as well. So it's got kind of a styrofoam insert. This one is no longer mint and seal box, but I would call this one like unused contents. I'm surprised they didn't qualify grade it. There must have been a reason for it. Why, I have no idea. But this clearly has not been used. The sticker sheet is still unused. The sprue is still taped to the styrofoam insert, and then there's that base, that blue base for it. So very cool item. To me, this is a good candidate. If AFA won't grade it, certainly CAS would grade this as qualified grading. 207.50, really good deal on that. Somebody asked me, a Patreon supporter asked me what I thought it would sell for. I had no idea. You never see them ever. And I said it was a total shot in the dark, and I guessed like 400 to 450. And I was clearly wrong. 207.50. This one might have been held down just because of all the other hot items that I'm going to show you here in a second, but I did want to point that one out. On to the very high grade Tri-Logos that CIB listed. I don't know what the deal is, where all of these came from. This is like a time capsule. Somebody at CIB has the DeLorean from my memory is failing. This is like early in the morning right now, but they got Marty McFly's DeLorean, and they went back and got a bunch of beautiful Tri-Logos because they were all insanely high grade. This was an AFA 85 Biker Scout that sold for $587. Good deal on that one. I paid more for mine in an AFA 85. Also a punched example. I think I paid $600 or $650 for mine, somewhere in that ballpark. So $587 was a good deal, but again, I think it comes down to the fact that there's so many others that were for sale, all ending around the same time. Here was an AFA 85 Chief Chirpa, $456 on that one. I think I paid less than $300 for my AFA 85, but mine was a punched example. This one was unpunched, and this one was straight. No, it was not. It was 85, 80, 90 for the subscores, but beautiful example for $456, which again, I would say that's a little high. And that's going to be kind of the theme here for a lot. I accidentally included the rocket firing Takara R2 twice, so ignore that. We've got the Han Solo in Carbonite, AFA 85, unpunched, no price sticker, $787. I think, again, that one was actually a really good deal relative to some that we've seen sell for more than that. So I thought that was it wasn't a steal, but it was a very fair price at $787. The B-Wing pilot was an AFA 85 for $398. Big number on that one. Big number for a fairly common Tri-Logo. It did have some high subscores, 85, 85, 90. So I think a lot of the subscores combined with unpunched, combined with no price sticker. There's very particular buyers out there that have OCD that really want AFA 85s, unpunched, no price sticker. I'm looking at you, Chris, from Rogue 5 Toys. He started very sneakily starting to collect these again. Here is an AFA 85 9-num, $835 on that one. That's another big number. We've seen some AFA 80s that have sold. We've seen like 3 or 4 AFA 80s that have sold in that ballpark of $500 to $550. And this one was an AFA 85, admittedly, so it was higher grade. Very high subscores again, 85, 85, 90 on that one. And, this was a price that was easily 60% higher. So for whatever reason, this week, there were the big prices. I was curious to see where my Bosk would sell. I've got a Bosk unpunched, no price sticker, AFA 85, just like this one. I think actually I've got a 90 subscore for the figure score. So this one was straight 85s and sold for $975, a big number. I think I paid around $650 for mine. It might have been closer to $700. I don't remember. It was several years ago. But $975 was a very, very healthy price. And in all fairness, the Bosk has not come up very often on eBay in such a high grade, certainly, but at all, really. And, this price was really strong. I was expecting kind of $750-ish. So big number there. On the other end of the spectrum was an AFA 85 Tri-Logo Sensor Scope R2-D2. And I've got one CAS 85 unpunched, no price sticker, straight 85s. This one was 85, 90, 90. And this one sold for $577, which was a steal of a deal, if you ask me. For my CAS 85, I paid $750. Ouch on that one. So this one was higher grade, also AFA, which tends to command a premium versus CAS. And it went for, about $150, $180 less than what I paid. So big number there. Now, you could say maybe that the blister is yellowing there. I don't think it is, personally. It looks okay to me. But, in certain, it's kind of an optical illusion that maybe it's got a little bit of yellowing going on. I don't think it does, but I just think that I'm trying to justify the fact that I overpaid for mine last year. So $577 was a great deal. If you happen to be the person that bought this, that was a very, very good deal. Next up was a Luke. This one looks like it has the Meccano small blister. I assume that's what that is there. So we've talked about that recently, that some of these Tri-Logos do have Meccano blisters. Maybe has some yellowing going on in the upper left. Hard to tell there. It could just be, again, lighting. But, this is a very nice example. This one, it has the old grading without the subscore. So it was an AFA 85 Tri-Logo with the Meccano blister for $827. $827 on that one. So big number for that as well. Next up, we're digging into the 90s now, and the 90s really blew away all expectations. And I think this goes back to my thesis that because we can see the population report for these on AFA's website, on CGA grading, you can go to the population report and check out how many 90s there are. I should have done that before I started this video, so I apologize for that. But I would wager that there's not many 90s for many of these Tri-Logos just because the blisters are so fragile. Unpunched example, AFA 90, Klaatu in his skiff outfit, 90, 85, 90 were the subscores. And look at that price, 1983. You're probably talking 7 to 8 times what an AFA 85 would go for. So somebody is willing to pay the big money for these, and it could be one of one. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I know that the Princess Leia, I did look that up from last week's batch. That one was an AFA 85, and there was 190 available. My Death Star droid, for example, was an AFA 85, one of 6. There was no AFA 90s. It was the highest grade. So, again, this is probably one of one or one of 2 that's out there, if I had to guess. So that probably reflects the desirability and the rarity. Here was an AFA 85 Wicket, unpunched. That one sold for $458. Chris and I were both trying to speculate what we thought this one was worth. I was thinking $350-ish, maybe $400 if you're really, really aggressive on it. But again, some people really want that unpunched example in high grade and are willing to pay a little bit of a premium for it. So $458 was the final winning bid on that. Here was the one I really wanted, but I decided not to bid on any. And I think my max number was 1,300 for the IG-88, and it went way above that. So it's a good thing I wasn't bidding anyway. And it's an AFA 85, admittedly, and IG-88 on the Tri-Logo is a very tough one to find. Does not come up regularly. This is only the second one to my memory that has come up in high grade. I think, I'm not sure, but I think CIB had one last year that was an AFA 80 that sold for $1,300, somewhere in that ballpark. So that was about my number, whether it was an 85 or an 80. I wasn't willing to go any higher than that. I didn't bid on it, and it sold for $1,558. So big number. I can understand that. To me, if I had been in the market for one, I definitely would have been willing to pay $1,558. It's a high number. It's not a steal. It's not a good deal. It's probably around fair market value, just relative to the one that sold last year for around $1,300. Here's the other 90. This was a Tebow. Again, a common Tri-Logo. This is not a hard to find Tri-Logo. There was one that a Patreon supporter had that was a CAS 80 that sold for like $250. And again, it's a CAS 80. It's not an AFA 90, but an AFA 90, I'm not paying $1,427 for it. That is a massive number, So it just shows you how much people are willing to pay for those premiums. And, again, we see it with loose graded too, right? You get an AFA 90 yak face, it's going to go for an insane number relative to what an AFA 85 yak face goes for. If we remember that spreadsheet video where we looked at a snapshot of the AFA population report for loose graded figures, and yak face, the most common grade is an 85. When you get to 90s, that's when the prices really start accelerating, and that's what happens even with mint on cards apparently. So 1427 was a big number there. On to the final 2, and I was wrong. Alluding back to the beginning of this video, I was wrong. I said that the Luke Skywalker Hoth Tri-Logo AFA 85 was going to probably sell for more than what the AFA 85 Tri-Logo Luke Gunner card Tri-Logo was going to go for. And I was wrong. But I wasn't too far wrong. For reference point, there was one on Facebook ungraded that sold for $3,800. This Luke ended up selling for $4,651 in an AFA 85. And in all fairness, the Luke Skywalker in Hoth Battle Gear on the Tri-Logo card bag is a rare figure. It's, I would personally consider it on par with the Jawa. Now, the Jawa is usually going to command more money. It almost always will. But to me, Luke Skywalker Hoth on the Tri-Logo is about as tough to find. It's very, very tough. And the price reflected that at $4,651. It really jumped at the end there. It was around $1,700 as the auction was ending with 3 seconds left. It went from $1,700 and change to $4,651 in 3 seconds. So that just shows you that there was demand there. And then finally, we got the Luke Gunner card, AFA 85, absolutely stunning item. And it sold for $52.27, big number. It was big, way before the auction was ending. It was in the 40s, in the high fours before the auction was even ending, and it settled out at $52.27. Wow, what a big number. But, I was wrong on it, but it is what it is. I mean, I guess I need to just factor in nostalgia, the alternate card image, even on a standard Kenner card, Luke Gunner alternate image in high grade is going to command $2,000 in high grade if it's a clear or clear-ish blister. So $52.27 for the Tri-Logo, AFA 85. It just had too much going for it. So it ended up beating out the Luke Hoth that sold at $4,651. But I wasn't too far off. I was off, $600-700. But big numbers this week for almost all of the CIB auctions. There were some good deals here and there, but absolutely stunning items. We'll probably, I think that by the time I shut this YouTube channel down, I bet we never see the incredible run of high-grade Tri-Logos that we've seen over the last couple of months. I haven't looked to see if they've got any more coming, but at least as of now, I feel like we're probably never going to see a run like this again. I'm very happy with the ones I got, but if you ended up picking any up, please leave me a like in this video and comment below if you happen to win any of these auctions. Congrats if you did. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.